Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about second year Washington Commanders linebacker Jamin Davis and what expectations for him should be in his second year. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content, also with that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. It really does help out the channel. Now, let's get right into it. So as we know, the Washington Commanders drafted Jamin Davis in the first round of the 2021 NFL draft, and he had a disappointing rookie season. And to be fair, he was playing out of position. They drafted him to be a middle linebacker, and that's where they started him out as. And he wasn't even getting that much playing time, but you could see that wasn't really his natural position. And kind of by the end of the season, they figured out, or probably even earlier, that he really wasn't a middle linebacker anymore, is a outside linebacker. And right after the season ended, Ron Rivera said he thinks Jamin Davis belongs at outside linebacker in a 4-3 defense, and that makes sense. But that's just, it's a wasted rookie year for Jamin Davis. I mean, I guess you figured out he's not a middle linebacker, but it would have been much better if he would, been able to play a full year as an outside linebacker. But at least they figured that out. But that's a miss on their evaluation of him, because they thought he would be a middle linebacker. You look at his stats in his rookie year, played in all 16 games, or played in 16 games. I can't remember. I think he had the virus or something happened for one of the games, and so that's good. He stayed healthy for the entire season, had 76 total tackles, 1 sack, and no interceptions, anything like that, and 4 stuffs. So, nothing crazy in his rookie year. And the thing that was more concerning is that, guys like David Mayo were getting snaps over him, and that was at the end, midway to the end of the season. That's because, Jamin Davis wasn't the middle linebacker, and they needed someone who could play middle linebacker, so David Mayo was playing over him. But, I mean, I don't care what's happening when, your first round pick is sitting behind David Mayo. That is concerning, and that's what was happening in his rookie year. And he did have a few nice plays. He had one nice play again in the first Giants game, and then he had a nice play against the Bills where he stopped a 4th down conversion. That was a really good play, and he had 2 really solid plays in the Giants game, in the last Giants game, one where I think he stopped a 4th down conversion as well, and the other where he got a sack. But I was expecting, at least from Jamin Davis in his rookie year, not for him to be necessarily an elite linebacker, but I was expecting to see his athleticism flash a lot. He had 4.4 speed, over a 40-inch vertical, leap, and I didn't see that many athletic plays. Sure, there were a few, but for the most part, I didn't see that, wow, that's why the Commanders drafted, or the football team at the time, the Washington football team, drafted him 19th overall. I didn't see many of those plays last year. And again, a lot of that has to do with him playing out of position. But even when he was playing a little bit more outside linebacker, I didn't see enough of those plays. But maybe with the full off season, actually playing the position that he's supposed to play and practicing like that, it'll help him out. And again, of course, he's going into his second year, and he was always going to be a little bit more of a project because he only started 1 year at Kentucky, came out, I believe, in his junior season. So he's a work in progress. And guys, I think expectations for him in his second year should not be for him to be an elite linebacker. There's no way you should expect him to be an elite linebacker in his second year after he just wasn't great in his rookie year. There's one thing from Ben Standig. He said, Jamin Davis said he feels way more comfortable this camp compared to last season. Said that shows in play speed. Called last season a humbling experience. So, and I think Ben Standig and others said that he does seem a lot more comfortable, even just talking to the media, which isn't a huge thing, but it just shows where he's at going into his second year. And we can't tell where he's at, in terms of the football field, because they haven't played games. They're not even at preseason yet, but still, it's good to see the little things. But again, we're going to wait and see, how it translates to actual game days. So in Jamin Davis's second year, we don't need him to be great, but if he can be average or better, that's going to be a huge upgrade to the Washington Commanders linebacking core. And I am pre-recording this. This is July 2nd, so who knows when this video is going out because I'm going on a trip. But at this point, the Washington Commanders linebacker room is very thin with basically Jamin Davis and Cole Holcomb, and then you can throw in a couple names like David Mayo, Khalid Hudson. Maybe they signed A.J. Klein, who knows? But the linebacker core does not look very good. And last year, of course, it was not good at all. So that's one way this defense can upgrade from year 1 to year 2, and that's really Cole Holcomb can probably get a tiny bit better, but he was already pretty solid last year. Jamin Davis was not good at all last year, so if he can go from pretty bad to solid, that is a big improvement, and I think that really can help the Commanders defense. Again, he's 23 years old, he's super young, and he's a project. He doesn't have that much experience. Even last year, he didn't play a ton of snaps. There's a lot of games where he played less than 50% of the snaps, so he is still a work in progress, and he's still playing pretty much the same position in terms of he's playing linebacker, but he's going to play a different linebacker going from middle to outside linebacker. So still going to be an adjustment. So I think it's too much to ask for him to be, a really good linebacker, over 100 tackles, 3.5 sacks, a couple interceptions. That's a lot to ask for a guy in his second year coming off a not great year. But if he can give us, a little bit. Tackles really is just how much are you playing and are you in the right position? But maybe some less missed tackles, maybe a couple sacks, because I think he can do that. I think they should rush him, have him rushing the quarterback a little bit more. And then I need to see a few splash plays from him, maybe a forced fumble or two, maybe an interception or a couple big hits. I need to see that first round pick that we drafted. I need to see that flash a few times. There's a few times, there was one game where Derek Carr literally outran Jamin Davis, and I know Jamin Davis was a little behind him, but I was come on, this guy's a first round pick. That did not look like a first round player. And there's other times where I'm okay, this is why we drafted him in the first round, but I just need to see more of those moments in his second year and some more impact plays, because he really had a couple impact plays in his rookie year. You can say the sack, but it is Jake Fromm, and then he had a couple nice 2 big hits on 4th down conversions against CJ Board, and I can't remember who it was against the Bills, but he had those 2 were really nice plays. So he had 3 really good plays, but besides that, he didn't have any. So he needs to increase those splash plays, but just overall, be in the right position, know where you're supposed to be. That will be improved in his second year, because he's already seen a bunch of different things in his rookie year, and I think his coverage needs to improve a little bit more. At times it was okay, but I think I looked and it was he allowed an 85% completion percentage, and linebackers is always going to be higher, but 85 is way too high. He needs to get that down to maybe 75 or lower. Even though that's not great, it's much better than 85. I think Cole Holcomb, he had a terrible percentage in his rookie year, and he brought it down, a decent amount to his second year. So if, Jamin Davis can do something like that, we need to see a big improvement from Jamin Davis from year 1 to year 2, but we don't need him to be an elite linebacker. Here's a quick clip from, I think this is minicamp or maybe OTAs. There's Cole Holcomb right there doing a drill, and there's Jamin Davis doing one right now. I know it's not a big deal, but I know people want to see some of these guys in action when I'm talking about them. So there's a quick 12-second clip. I'll show it again, and then we'll get into some quotes from different players and coaches on how Jamin Davis is doing this offseason. So shout out to Ben Stanek of The Athletic. Here's a long article. I'm just showing a quick sneak peek of it. If you guys want to see the full thing, I'll leave the link in the description. So we talked about this earlier, and then Cole Holcomb said about Jamin Davis, he says he's taken a lot of big steps from last year, definitely got a better grasp on the defense. Playing outside, I feel like it's pretty natural for him. He's taken the right steps on what he needs to do. And let's see, that confidence translated into a more assured Davis during his first media session of the offseason program with direct, standing tall responses about his first season. So when we talked about that as well, and that's just good to hear for sure. That's definitely good to hear for sure. And Logan Paulson said that he's much more decisive, and he said last year Jamin looked lost. So again, didn't have a good rookie year. We need him to have an average, play average or better this year, and that'll definitely help the defense, take a step up, because the linebacking core was terrible last year, And besides Cole Holcomb was good. And I expect Cole Holcomb to even be better this year than he was last year. And I hope they can even extend him this offseason. But Jamin Davis is the real, he can really help this defense or get this defense to another level. And then, of course, the D-line is the real X factor if those guys can play like they should. Chase Young, Deron Payne, Montez Sweat. I mean, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen played solid last year, but, Montez Sweat and Chase Young need to step up for sure. So that is kind of it for today's video on those two, or on Jamin Davis. Let me know what you guys think about Jamin Davis and expectations for him in his second year. I know people want him to take a huge leap and be a really, Pro Bowl linebacker. I just don't think that's realistic. Like, even in minicamp and stuff, like, he's been taking some reps behind David Mayo. And I know Ron Rivera, likes to play the backups, getting them in some starting reps, but you don't see Cole Holcomb getting out. So, that's just something to keep in mind. He's still a project, guys. He is still a project. And I don't think you should have too high of expectations for him in his second year. And I think they definitely need to sign another linebacker, get A.J. Klein or someone that is better than David Mayo, which is a lot of guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.